6 days. It took 6 days after Sony declared the effective end of game ownership on PlayStation to return to social media. And what happened during those 6 days was truly something to behold. Because I have not seen it jumping this bad since Jujutsu Kaisen was airing, my guy. At the time of writing the script for this video, the announcement post has 176 million views, 105,000 comments, and 69,000 quote tweets. And all of them are just straight trashing PlayStation. That is almost double the amount of views that Rockstar has on their post announcing the pre-order date for GTA 6. This is the biggest gaming controversy since Sony's PSN outage back in the PS3 days. And gamers are definitely letting Sony know that this shit won't fly. But now that Sony is back on social media, what is the answer to the biggest gaming controversy that was quite literally caused by themselves? Absolutely nothing.
Huh?
These hyenas are actually trying to ignore the entire situation and are just posting marketing material on their socials like usual. You guys at PlayStation are truly running a masterclass in absolutely torching your brand to the ground. Oh, and this isn't hyperbole. Every post they've made since their return is still getting flooded with hate comments, and gamers demanding them to reverse course on their decision. And these comments are definitely not good for their relationships with third-party developers either. I mean, if you were a developer coordinating with PlayStation to promote your game on their socials, you probably wouldn't be too happy to see no one give a damn about your game and instead being busy burning down the entire comment section. And that's just the social media side of things. PlayStation gamers are in mass cancelling their digital pre-orders and PS Plus subscription to the point that PlayStation is actually offering discounts if you stay subscribed. No matter how unfazed they're trying to act, PlayStation is definitely feeling the heat of the situation. To the point that they're seemingly employing guerrilla tactics by having journalists that are associated with them write articles on how boycotting their decision is pointless.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Like, what kind of sorry-ass state does a company need to be in to have to rely on such sleazy-ass tactics, bro? From the way they're responding to PS Plus cancellations and people cancelling their pre-orders, they definitely seem everything but unfazed. All this is just a setup for the all-digital future they're setting up with the PS6. But with Sony's awful track record of decision-making this gen, and the general lack of enthusiasm for a potential PS6, things are definitely looking rather grim for the currently most hated company in gaming. Some of PlayStation's plan for this train wreck of a situation has seemingly leaked, and whoo boy, is that shit rancid. Sony believes that people will end up accepting the all-digital future in the end. This statement is already so absolutely brain dead, I've probably already lost brain cells reading it. Having the option of physical games is probably one of the last differentiators that PlayStation got going for it. Most games are on every platform nowadays, and while they run mostly the same on Xbox consoles, their physical copies are almost always incomplete when compared to PlayStation's. And up until last week, they literally had the worst reputation of any platform holder in gaming. The crown of douchebaggery belongs to Sony now, after all, so Xbox wouldn't even be an alternative in this regard, at least in the physical department. While the Switch 2 does have a lot of third-party support, it absolutely pales in comparison to PlayStation's. And games just run a whole lot worse on Switch, so that platform kind of isn't a replacement for people looking to build physical libraries when third-party games are in their heavy rotation. This is one of PlayStation's last things they do better than the competition. Once Sony removes disc-based gaming, there really ain't that much left. I mean, their first-party games are amazing, but they're released once every blue moon. PlayStation studios are not nearly as much of a setting point as they were in the PS4 generation, especially with Sony committing to continue their heavy focus on live service game development, which is insane to think about, given the fact that their live service ambitions have been essentially as successful as the current PR strategy. But the last point is so goddamn arrogant that I actually was stunned when I read it the first time around. Sony actually believes that they don't have to talk to fans about this entire situation, because they trust that fans have enough brand loyalty.
This nigga is trash.
Bro, who the fuck do you think you are? Have the heads at Sony lost their minds? Like, how out of touch can you be? The entire PS5 generation has been one of the biggest fumbles in gaming history. Sony came off the strongest generation of all time, the PS4 generation, as the de facto leader, a generation where they were heralded as some of the best game makers and stewards in the business, to the PS5 generation where people get 80k likes on a tweet that just says PS5 has no games. Because your game studios have been ghosting for almost the entire gen. We've come off a generation where people couldn't wait for the next system, to a generation where the average PlayStation player couldn't care less about a potential PS6, which would probably run them double the amount that they paid for their PS5. And yeah, you heard that right. The PlayStation 6 is reportedly going to cost around $1,000 due to the rising material costs as of now, according to rumors. These bozos at PlayStation actually expect you to fork over a rack to buy a console where the only thing you'll own is a family pack of disappointment. This is just the beginning of the anti-consumer ways after all. They recently announced in a meeting that they want to extract more money out of their existing fans, because the cost of producing hardware is going up. Once physical games are eliminated, you can kiss the very concept of good game sales goodbye on PlayStation systems. And if anyone thought that they would pass on the cost savings of not having to produce and handle this onto the consumer, I'm actually impressed that you managed to click on this video and watch up to this part, because your IQ is clearly below room temperature, if you actually believe that crap. These misguided fools at PlayStation are going to do the exact opposite. Expect games to be 80 or even $90 for the majority of releases next gen. And I can promise you that that's going to be a fact for all of the first party games. Better yet, you can already start spreading your cheeks for the absolute massive price hike for PlayStation Plus that Sony is going to shove up your butt.
Hey yo!
Once they've eliminated physical games, all of this will be an absolute cakewalk for them to implement. Because where else are you going to get your PlayStation games? Certainly not retailers, right? The only place you will be able to go is the PlayStation Network, which Sony has 100% control over. I rest my case. At this point, there's nothing left that makes PlayStation special. Nothing that makes them different from the rest. It's just become the default, and that shit has seemingly gone straight to their heads. And with them taking a big fat old turd on their fans, they couldn't make their intentions any clearer. They don't give a damn about making a good product. They are here to do the bare minimum and extract as much money as humanly possible. And lawmakers around the globe are now pursuing lawsuits for PlayStation's monopolistic behaviors around the PlayStation Store. I implore all of you that play on PlayStation to keep protesting. Stop buying digital games and opt for physicals, and cancel your PS Plus subscription. Money is the only language Sony wants to communicate in at this point, so let's eloquently tell them to go fuck themselves. With Steam OS rolling out, I also recommend everyone to go ahead and build a PC if Sony doesn't want to make a change. Steam OS will allow you to make the PC gaming experience a lot smoother than stock Windows. If we have to live in a digital-only future, you should be gaming on a platform where you at least have options available to you, because it has been made crystal clear that Sony is too greedy and full of themselves to give you any. This was the Teo, and man, I really miss non-arrogant Sony. Signing out.